as well as its vibrant music and dance scene. Freetown has faced significant challenges in recent years, including a devastating mudslide in 2017 that killed hundreds of people and caused widespread destruction. However, the city has also made significant progress in rebuilding and developing, with new infrastructure, businesses, and cultural initiatives. Today, Freetown is a dynamic and diverse city that is home to people from all over Sierra Leone and beyond. 3. Sierra Leone is a resource-rich country with a diverse economy that includes agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and services. However, the country still faces significant economic challenges, including poverty, unemployment, and a lack of basic infrastructure. As of 2023, the nominal GDP of Sierra Leone is $4.1 billion, while the GDP per capita is $494. Agriculture is one of the most important sectors of the Sierra Leonean economy, employing around two-thirds of the country's workforce. The country produces a variety of crops, including cocoa, coffee, palm oil, and rice, and is also a significant producer of diamonds and other minerals. Mining is another important sector of the Sierra Leonean economy, with the country being one of the largest producers of diamonds in the world. The country also has significant deposits of iron ore, bauxite, and gold. Manufacturing is a relatively small sector of the Sierra Leonean economy, but it is growing rapidly, particularly in the areas of food processing and textiles. Services, including banking and finance, telecommunications, and tourism, are also growing in importance. Sierra Leone has made significant progress in recent years in attracting foreign investment and promoting economic growth, but the country still faces significant challenges, including corruption, poor infrastructure, and a lack of skilled labor. The government of Sierra Leone, along with international partners, is working to address these challenges and promote sustainable economic development that benefits all Sierra Leoneans. 4. Marriage customs in Sierra Leone vary depending on the ethnic group and religion of the individuals involved. However, traditional customs and practices still play an important role in many marriages. In many ethnic groups, marriages are arranged by families, with the parents of the groom approaching the parents of the bride to arrange the marriage. However, this practice is becoming less common, and many couples now choose to marry based on mutual love and attraction. Weddings in Sierra Leone are often elaborate and colorful affairs, with a range of traditional customs and ceremonies. The bride and groom often wear traditional clothing, and there is typically a large feast and celebration following the ceremony. In many ethnic groups, the payment of a bride price is a customary practice, where the groom's family pays a sum of money or other gifts to the bride's family as a way of demonstrating their commitment to the marriage. Polygamy is also a common practice in many ethnic groups in Sierra Leone, although it is becoming less common in urban areas. Overall, marriage customs in Sierra Leone are diverse and reflect the country's rich cultural heritage. While traditional practices are still important, many couples are also choosing to incorporate modern elements into their weddings, creating a unique and personalized experience. 5. The education system in Sierra Leone is divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Primary education is free and compulsory for children between the ages of 6 and 14, and the government has made significant efforts to increase enrollment and improve the quality of education in primary schools. However, many children still do not have access to education, particularly in rural areas. Secondary education is also available in Sierra Leone, but it is not free and is often prohibitively expensive for many families. The government is working to increase access to secondary education and improve the quality of teaching and learning in secondary schools. Tertiary education is available in Sierra Leone, with a number of universities and other institutions of higher education operating in the country. However, access to tertiary education is limited, and many students face significant financial and other barriers to enrollment. Education in Sierra Leone faces significant challenges, including inadequate funding, poor infrastructure, and a lack of trained teachers. The government of Sierra Leone, along with international partners, is working to address these challenges and improve access to quality education for all Sierra Leoneans. 6. Sierra Leone is a country with a rich culture and natural beauty, and there are many tourist attractions that showcase the country's unique heritage and environment. One of the most popular tourist attractions in Sierra Leone is the Tacugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary, which is home to over 80 chimpanzees that have been rescued from the illegal wildlife trade. The sanctuary offers visitors the opportunity to learn about these amazing animals and their conservation. Another popular attraction is the Outamba Kalibi National Park, which is home to a variety of wildlife, including elephants, hippos, and chimpanzees. The park also offers visitors the opportunity to see traditional villages and learn about the local.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Podium, which is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Asmiwa. We start with a quote of the day which comes from the reggae music legend Bob Marley, and it says, "The greatest of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively." Coming up into this edition of the program, Anti-Corruption Commission to set up a task force to audit all pending projects in the country. Sierra Leone to host first United Nations Women in Tourism Regional Congress. We shall talk more about that. Project 1808 in partnership with Strides for Africa to provide water for over 2,000 residents of Koinadugu districts. And in Podium today, Women's Forum South popularizes the Jiwe Act and Sexual Offences Act. All these stories and more, including your text messages which you can send to the number 0300733719. You can also join us on our Facebook page, Slbc TV. The program is The Podium. Don't forget to be part of the conversation by sending your messages or comments to the number you see on the screen, or join us on our Facebook page, Slbc TV. The Anti-Corruption Commission is set to set up a task force to audit all pending projects, accordingly to hold accountable project heads, particularly project accountants and auditors, where there are anomalies that may lead to liabilities to the government. Well, this was disclosed in a recent press release issued by the Anti-Corruption Commission to remind public officials to adhere to the established procedures and rules for the implementation of donor-funded projects. Well, according to the release, some heads of ministries, departments and agencies have failed to appropriately manage projects, resulting to financial losses to the government. Well, to take the discussion further, I have the Deputy PRO of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Alex Bah. Welcome to the program, Alex.
Thank you so much, Asmi, for having me.
I'm sure this has been happening for a very long time now. Why do you think this is so long to respond to this anomaly which has caused burden on government. Instead of government receiving donor-funded monies and implement them to change the lives of citizens, government has been paying donors as a result of losses it's received as a result of certain people not doing what they were supposed to do.
Well, that is why we have decided to intervene to ensure that we put proactive measures now to address some of these issues. They've been coming to our attention by way of reports and understanding that the government has been incurring huge losses out of sometimes sheer negligence or out of just, actions or decisions by public officials that are tasked to ensure the execution or oversee the execution of government or donor-driven project, that they've not been complying with the strict rules, guidelines, and procedures. So these things they've been coming to our attention, and as a commission, noting the huge losses that government have been paying, the government have suffered, we decided that we are now taking these steps, these measures to ensure that we address these issues that have been happening by first off admonishing public officials and those particularly that have fiduciary responsibilities that they are bound to go strictly by the rules, guidelines, and procedures as defined clearly in project implementation manual and other related handbooks in the implementation of donor-driven
So what
funds.
have they not been doing right?
So basically what normally happens in most of these donor-driven projects, for example, if you have a project that you have a defined timeline to implement this project, let's say the project should end on October 31st, 2024. What have been happening is that sometimes these projects implementers will exceed out of the defined timeline for the completion of this project, and beyond the period they will be expending these donor resources in implementing the program. So basically what often these donor partners they do, any money or fund expended beyond the defined timeline, they will be considered as ineligible funds.
Even when the project has not reached its conclusion?
Yes. There is a defined timeline, there is a defined scope that this project is a 2 years project. It ends on the 31st October. So after the 31st of October, if the project is yet to be completed, before that time, they should have foreseen that and request expressly for an extension, and such an extension must also be granted, must also be authorized expressly before they are permitted to expend any of these donor resources. So what have been happening, what came to our attention is that they go ahead and expend resources, either a decision they make unilaterally or sometimes just discretionary, and they expend these resources, and these donor partners, for every single penny that is expended beyond the defined timeline, they normally at the end of the day would ask government to pay those monies.
So how much has government lost?
We are still quantifying the reports. That is why we have decided to set up a task force to audit, to look into all the pending projects, so we'll be able to determine.
Are you talking about?
No, we cannot at this time give. That is why the task force that we've set up, they would have that responsibility to determine, and then definitely will come to the public about it. But basically, as I was saying, not just about also the ineligible funds expended beyond the timeline, but what also happens, for example, if it's an EU funded project and you are being asked that in terms of purchasing of vehicle, if the project includes purchasing of vehicle, that the vehicle must be purchased in an EU country, and the project implementer and they decided that okay, this fund is meant to purchase vehicle, and they go and get the vehicle in China, though probably the resources or the amounts they use in purchasing that vehicle might be less, But if you are required, what is contained and detailed in the project, in the contract, is to get a vehicle in an EU country, and you go and get the vehicle in China, they would ask the government to refund those monies. So basically, those are the losses that governments have been incurring, and that is why the ACC will decided to admonish public officers as maybe in a very strong attempt to say caution, but basically admonish that they should and they are not allowed to do anything outside what is defined.
What about the Public Procurement Authority? Where did they also have a role in all of this, because if they are to, they preside and supervise over government procurements.
Well, that is why, in terms of overwhelming oversight mandate as provided for in the anti-corruption law, Section 37 of the Anti-Corruption Act makes it an offense for public officers to misappropriate donor revenue or public revenue, which can also be termed as donor funds as well, that they would face the sanctions as provided for by law. So in that spirit of providing and ensuring that we invoke that part of the act, that is why we're effecting this oversight mandate to inform them that now the ACC, we would be strictly monitoring the execution, the completion of these donor funds to prevent all of these losses that governments have been incurring.
Okay, here is the Deputy PRO of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Alex Ba, talking about the task force that the ACC is about to set up to investigate all projects that are ongoing in the country to prevent government from losing someone. Well, the program is a podium coming to you live from Freetown through its Waterfall Well Body Initiative. Project 1808 in partnership with Strides for Africa has unveiled the fourth hand pump in Kwenadogo district to cater for over 2,000 residents. Strides for Africa, which is based in Wisconsin, United States, has been working with Project 1808 to embark on impactful work in Kabbalah and to dig more wells in the district. Well, access to clean water and quality education have been key challenges for Kwenadogo district. Well, Project 1808 has been key in terms of providing some of these two key amenities in that deprived district. Well, for more on that, we have in the studio Professor Alaji Njai, who is the head of Project 1808. Welcome to the program, Professor Njai.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Yeah, let us look at the prevailing circumstance when it comes to access to water in Kwenadogo districts.
Yeah, access to clean water is a major issue in Kwenadogo, and now with climate change, it's becoming even more difficult. You have communities in the dries that have to go a couple miles to get water. We've been experiencing water stress, water scarcity in the community and around Kabbalah and many of the townships. And access to clean water is linked to a lot of preventable waterborne diseases, which often the case we have in these communities, things like typhoids and a lot of diarrheal diseases. Very recently we were dealing with an issue of salmonella outbreak in one of the communities. So I think this initiative for me is very near and dear to my heart, and we've been able to now launch 4 wells in the community in Kabbalah, and we have plans to put more wells in the community. So the recent one we launched this past weekend was actually for a community that has never had a hand dog or a very safe well, and this is a community that has probably over 2,000 people, and so we've been doing this, finding various communities, and with a colleague, Strides for Africa, our partner organization, what we have been able to do is to actually do these wells in a very cost-effective manner. So basically, to do wells, for most of the organizations, they are looking at like maybe $10,000, $12,000 to do a well. And what we've been able to do is to use local people. We have a very skilled local person in Kwenadogo, and it's actually very talented well digger. He actually gets like outsourced to even go as far as Liberia and all these agencies. But one of the things we do is that we work with him locally, and we do these wells at a very reasonable amount, so somewhere around 4,000, which can give us more wells for most organizations. But we also we do a lot of, we did ourselves, we do a lot of the testing, so we can test. We can do all the other stuff. You know, my colleague is a hydrogeologist, so we can do all the other stuff in terms of soil quality, water quality, doing all of those stuff. So that reduces all that cost for the communities. Okay. And then I think it is a great initiative, and we are looking forward to put more. There's opportunities now for us to put more wells. We have 4. We've actually been able to continually maintain them, and one of the things we have with our program is also the sustainability part of it, because sometimes people come and do wells and then they go.
That's the question I was going to ask, because I mean, sometimes some donors will come, I mean, they build schools, they build market, they dig wells without bringing the people on board.
Exactly.
The community ownership.
That's it. So what we do as an organization is actually to build community bylaws and community buy-in, and we have our coordinator who moves to these wells every now and then to kind of look at their quality, how they are doing, and then we have a maintenance fund. So a maintenance fund that is set aside to make sure these wells continue to be functional.
Are people going to pay to access to fetch water?
No, we don't do that. So one of the things with Project 1808, most of our activities are community centered, so we don't do pay. If there is that opportunity, could be for the community members themselves to be able to have a maintenance fund for themselves rather than paying to get the water.
So how are they going to generate that maintenance fund?
So right now we kind of raise that. We kind of put something. We have a fund.
The seed money?
Yeah, a seed money for that. So we're talking about maybe if it's a long-term thing, maybe that's something that they can actually work on. We've been encouraging them to kind of think around that, so that we can then be able to sustain the wells over.
Koinadugu and Kabala are amongst the 2 deprived districts in this country, and I'm sure all the chiefdoms in these 2 districts need water. So how did you come to select the beneficiaries?
So normally we do like a needs assessment. So we have teams that go into different parts and then do like an assessment of what is the population size of this place. Do they have an existing well, or they don't have? What is their water sources, and what is the need for clean water in this area? And so based on those assessments, we kind of come up with a thing of like selecting which community. So one of the things we've been grappling with is that some of the communities, you find that in some communities they probably have a well, and then the well just need to be maintained. Some communities have had they've had like some well in their locality. So we kind of take all those things into consideration. Like this one, the last one we just did, the community had nothing. So that's one of so they were actually like right up there in terms of needing something. We are also going to be embarking on repairs for some communities. So that will also be something we'll embark on, where there is a well, but the well is actually non-functional. Okay. And there's so many of these things. We have so many projects, had come and they don't follow up. So we want to just go in and then, repair these wells and then help them with, like chlorination of these wells, and then just testing the water quality so that it is safe. Because for some of those, you don't really need to start from scratch. Okay. You're just like fixing it up again for the community.
Continue with First Professor Njai. Later in the program we'll talk more about the college in Koinadugu district, which is pioneered by Project 1808. And later I'll also prick you on the American elections.
Oh yes.
I mean, the stakes are high. There are so many issues at stake. So we'll discuss that later in the program. He is Alhaji Njai, who is the head of Project 1808, talking about some provision of water for some residents of Kenema State. The program is a podium. Let's go to another issue. A regional conference by the Women's Forum South is to be hosted for the first time to popularize the Giwe Act and Sexual Offences Act. Well, the conference will also discuss on SGBVs and other women's empowerment issues. For more on this, I have in the studio Evelyn Konya-Ture, who is the regional coordinator of Women's Forum South. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Now, how important is this forum to women in rural communities?
Thank you very much. Women's Forum is the umbrella organization for all women's organizations in this country. This conference is important to women because this is the first Southern Region Women's Conference ever in the history of the South, because we have been coming for conferences, but it has been happening in Freetown, and we believe Freetown is not Sierra Leone, and we thought it fit to bring the conference, and we named it Southern Region Women's Conference, which we are going to deliberate on the issues that are affecting women, and we are going to deliberate on the GIWI and the prohibition of the Early Marriage Act.
Now, the issue of the GIWI and other issue of SGBV, how popular are these issues to women in rural communities?
Yeah.
For example, GIWI, do women in Bo know about it? Not even that there is now a law that is called GIWI?
Yes, they know about the law, but the popularization of the law is so poor. So we are trying to raise awareness around it so that the women of Bo and even beyond, because this is the Southern Region Women's Conference, we are going to invite women from Pujel, Bo Bont Moyamba Pujel. So we are going to bring them on board to deal with the GIWI properly, and so that we have the understanding around the GIWI.
Are you going to invite the normal women, the elite women, not my auntie in the village, who they are the ones who normally feel some of these disadvantages?
Yes.
Not the elite women.
Yes, that's why the conference is the Southern Region Women's Conference. We are dealing with women who are living in those remote villages. You know, we are going to deal with elites, but it's not about elites. It's about women who are facing those challenges. So we are dealing with those women so that they will know the issues, the benefit they have in the GIWI, and the challenges around the sexual and gender-based violence issues.
Okay. Now tell us about the issue of gender-based violence in the southern region.
Oh, it's so pathetic, and we have been having so many reports, and the statistics is so high for sexual and gender-based violence issues. But with the help of the Women's Forum and other partners, which is the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, which we are working with them closely, we have been trying to raise awareness around it. We have been visiting the courts, you know, but for now it is a bit in a low increase because of the popularization of it. So for now we don't have so many cases.
So are you saying that the comment of the GIWI Act has had some significant impact?
Yes.
In terms of SGBV cases?
Of course, yes, because of the laws. You know, if you are caught beating your wife or any lady, you will face the law. The law will bite you. So because of those laws, it's a bit on a low.
So how do you popularize this law beyond the conference?
Well, we are going to have a panel discussion, which we are going to engage lawyers, and we are going to deal with business people and also the community people as a whole. So they are coming. The lawyers are coming to explain
the nitty-gritty of the law.
Yes, to the people we are going to the participants, so that they will know how to deal with those laws.
Continue to be with us. She is Evelyn Konya-Ture, who is the regional coordinator of Women's Forum South. This podium coming to you live from Freetown. Well, the Sierra Leone Motor Drivers Union has been on the news, well, not for the good reason, but for the bad reason, I would say. Well, 4 dates have been slated for their election, for the election of a new executive, but all those 4 dates have come and gone and no election has been held. Well, some controversies are surrounding these elections. What's the stakes? Why are they having all these delays? Well, we have in the studio National PR of Motor Drivers Union General Workers Union, who is Mohamed Kabine Conte. Welcome to the program, Mr. Conte.
Well,
you guys have had 4 dates and none of these dates have been honored. You are still, nobody knows what is happening when the next election is going to be held. Why all this shifting and shifting and shifting? You keep shifting dates every now and then.
Well, first of all, my name is Mohamed Kabine Conte, the National Education and Public Relations Officer for the Motor Drivers and General Transport Workers Union. The problem with the shifting of the dates is the undue interference of public authorities, because we had problems with some members, and that problem went on to the Supreme Court, which is the highest in the land.
Okay.
So the decision was made. Here is the Supreme Court order, which said,
what did the order say?
The order says that this order and the pending originating motion of a notice of motion dated 16th April 2024 shall not affect the conduct of the elections of the Motor Drivers and General Transport Workers Union on the expiration of its term on the 23rd July 2024. Such election and preparation to be conducted in accordance with the Constitution of the Motor Drivers and General Transport Workers Union. So we issued our notice to our line ministries and other authorities. We are suddenly called upon by the Minister of Labour, Employment and Social Security, who proposed a draft to us supporting those who failed to meet the requirements of our membership according to our constitution, because we have
that's a very strong allegation against the ministry.
Yeah, it is strong. Yes, here is the draft copy.
When you say support, what do you mean?
Well, when
you say supporting those who failed,
he is supporting them because he said we should sign a memorandum of understanding with them, nullifying the Supreme Court order and going by the dictates of this particular draft.
So did you go back to the court?
Well, the court was in recess by the time this thing happened, and we consulted our lawyer. Our lawyer, that date that was given to us by the court for the 23rd of July, it was cancelled. We tried to set another date for the 6th. The same letter came from the Internal Affairs Minister nullifying our election. We rescheduled for the 18th. The IGP came in and said no. He even sent police to our places. And for the 1st of October, which was issued by our own lawyer, from a letter written to the IGP copying other stakeholders, it happened the same way. So now we met on the 8th of October and we took a position.
And what's that position?
The position is to call on the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone and the International Labour Organization to call to order those public authorities and caution them that they should not do any undue interference in our election.
But you said earlier the court was on recess, which is understood.
Yes,
but the court has resumed its sitting, so you should have gone to the court and informed the Honorable Supreme Court that the order that you gave has not been honored.
Yes, that was what we came out with from the resolution. That is just the public one we aired, and we have met with our lawyers, and our lawyer is working at any time from now. The Supreme Court will call on us to know why the order that the Supreme Court gave was never honored.
Who is presently running the union? Because the mandate of the Alpha Bar executive ended in July 2024. So who is running the union for now?
It is Alpha Bar still. He is the President General.
How can he be president when his term has elapsed?
Constitutionally, because we are still in line with the Supreme Court order that we should conduct our elections according to our constitution. We have a constitutional provision that if there is any reason that a proposed or a planned election cannot be conducted, there should be a deferment of 3 months. That's the first deferment. If anything happens again, there will be another deferment of 3 months, and that will be the final.
So do you guys want to enjoy this deferment?
Well, we don't want to enjoy.
You seem to be enjoying it.
No, we don't want to enjoy.
You're having extra time.
No, we don't want it.
You're having more time.
If we want it, we shouldn't be calling on the public attention for the cancellations of our election. We are against it, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want to set a bad precedent. Only that the provision make legitimacy for the presidency of Alpha Amaduba for that deferment. And now, because that first 3 months has expired, we have also sent out letters for us to have a meeting on the 31st of October. Since the matter has now been decided to be taken to court again, for us to have a meeting for another deferment of 3 months whilst we are awaiting what will be the decision of the Supreme Court. Those that the Supreme Court ruled against, that they are not members according to our constitution, also write a letter to the Minister of Internal Labour on the 24th, and the Minister of Labour responded on the 25th by writing the IGP that we are planning to have a meeting, which is not an election in our office, under the disguise of a meeting, which is a special conference that we are supposed to do, because Alpha Amaduba cannot continue to be there for the next 3 months if the National and Central Executive Council does not mandate him for that second deferment. So we don't want to go against the constitution. Now they are planning again to meet to disrupt that particular process. The minister said it was a complaint from the other side, but he never called us to hear our part of the story. He had the complaint on the 24th. On the 25th, he made his own resolution.
Who are the other side?
The other side is one person called Abu Saidu and his disciples. So he's Abu Saidu.
Versus who?
Well, versus the entire motor drivers and general transport workers. He was a member until 2017. And by 2017, excuse me, he declared himself autonomous. He took a part of Bo districts, which is Milodon, running his affairs there without reporting and collaborating with the union. So that matter went to court to define that membership status. So until the final level, the Supreme Court, and it has been proven that according to our constitution, he has not met the requirement of being an up-to-date member.
Okay.
So the matter is like that now. So today, I'm just from the Internal Affairs Ministry. They have called all the parties, and only that I could not explain the end of the meeting. But the ministry's opening statement is that they don't want to interfere in our election, and they want to make sure that our election goes on without hindrance. So that is a good news, but I don't know the conclusion yet. So we're happy to hear that.
First is Mohammed Kind, and Conte, who is the national PRO of the motor drivers and general workers union. It's Podium, reaching you from Freetown. We are going for a short break. After the break, the program continues. We are back with the program Podium, which is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Alex, now let us look at the I'm sure there are pending projects that ACC has already had in mind that you think are great areas of interest to the ACC, even before you come out with your press release.
Yes, we have the recent issue of Salwako, which borders around why we have decided to caution, safe to say, admonish other public officers. In fact, now what we're doing and what we've started already with them is that, as we clearly stated, that if there are issues in which government used to incur some of those losses, those that are responsible for that would be the one that would be personally held liable to pay those monies, and where necessary, they face some sanctions as provided for by law. So we've already started it. They have they've started paying some monies that some money is lost. So we've already started, but to be proactive enough to prevent some of these issues in the future, that is the more reason why we have decided that we are setting up a task force.
It has to take the agency very long to respond. Maybe one would say the time you guys came in, the horse had been bolted.
Not necessarily very long. Yes, these issues, they have been happening, they have come to our attention, and now that is why we're putting structures in place to be able to address these issues, so they cannot be happening again in the future. Yes, they've been happening, and government have had a few losses, and so we have intervened. But more importantly, also, we are also working with other institutions. For example, we are planning to have a memorandum of understanding, a multi-tier MOU with other related government agencies that have shared responsibilities, like the audit service, like the National Monitoring and Evaluation Authority, or SUNAMIA. Well, also with the NPPA, so have that multi-tier partnership, so that some of these issues, some of these projects, some of these government donor-funded programs, we can be able
themselves, because sometimes some delays will happen, not as the fault is not on the MDA that is implementing the project, but sometimes the time is just not applicable, and a delay might come, which is not their fault.
No, well, that is why part of our admonishment, we stated some clear rules, and these rules must, I repeat again, must be complied to. That if there is a delay, if it is not feasible that the project will be completed within the defined timeline, then these public officers, these ones in charge of implementing this program, they should ask and request for an extension, and such a request must be authorized expressly. So these are standard process and procedures, everywhere. But to say a public officer, those implementing on their own accord, to go ahead and expend resources beyond the timeline, or to do anything that is not detailed in the the contract, then they will be personally held liable, because those are the areas that governments have been incurring some